Hello, peacemakers. Welcome back to one more episode in which we are analyzing international relations. So, attention of whole world is occupied with ongoing lawsuit of South Africa against Israel, accusing Israel of committing genocide in Gaza, and a lawsuit has been filed before International Court of Justice, or ICJ. So it's a fresh case. I mean, legally it's still too early to have any outcome of the case, because both sides just presented their arguments. So in this episode, let's try to predict at least two possible scenarios. One will be, let's say, idealistic, and another one more realistic. While it's not possible to predict the future with certainty, we can discuss hypothetical scenarios based on the, outcomes. I want you to keep in mind that these are just speculative scenarios which depend on various factors like political developments, public opinion, diplomatic efforts, personal views of judges. Many things are in play. So let's imagine scenario one. South Africa wins the case and Israel is found guilty of committing genocide in Gaza. How it would make impact on, and what impact would it make on international relations? First, it would trigger global condemnation of Israel. If the ICJ rules in favor of South Africa, it could lead to widespread international condemnation of Israel. This might result even in sanctions, diplomatic isolation, other punitive measures imposed by various countries and in international organizations. Second, strengthening human rights advocacy. The ruling could serve as a catalyst for stronger global advocacy for human rights and accountability for state actions. It may encourage other nations to scrutinize their own and others' human rights records more closely. That's why it's, this scenario is more idealistic. Third option would be shift in alliances. Countries that were traditionally aligned with Israel and their narratives might reconsider their relationship, potentially realigning their diplomatic ties in response to the ruling. This could reshape regional power dynamics. Let's see. And fourth, impact on the Israel-Palestine conflict. The ruling might have implications for the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict. It could stimulate renewed efforts for a peaceful resolution and place pressure on Israel to change its policies in the region. So, you see, it's very idealistic. So, let's talk about a more realistic scenario in which Israel wins and there is no condemnation for alleged genocide in Gaza. So how it would impact on future of international relations? First, validation of Israeli actions. A ruling in favor of Israel could be seen as a validation of its military actions in Gaza. This may embolden Israel to continue its policies without facing significant international consequences, at least in the short term. That would show that Israel is untouchable, and all other nations which are strong in military terms can do whatever they want. Second, impact strained relations with accusing nations. The countries, particularly those supporting Palestine, might express dissatisfaction with the ruling. This could lead to strained diplomatic relations between the accusing nations, such as South Africa, and those supporting Israel. This is very important aspect because I think this could trigger strengthening of the so-called BRICS. You know that BRICS is enlarging and it involves Brazil, India, China, Russia, South Africa, and it's almost done deal with Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and some other countries. So it would be called BRICS plus 6. So it would give, let's say, good reason for strengthening of that bloc of the countries. And third impact on international relations could be potential escalation of the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Lack of international censor might embolden Israel to maintain or even intensify its military operations in the region. This could potentially lead to a further escalation of the conflict and additional humanitarian crisis. And the fourth, impact on international institutions. A ruling in favor of Israel might raise questions about the effectiveness and credibility of international institutions, such as the International Court of Justice, in addressing complex and sensitive geopolitical cases. So it's up to the judges. We will see if their ruling would be driven by political motivations or simply by their judgment, which should be based on the laws and strict implementation of international norms. So let's see. You can leave your comments. What do you think? What could be more likely outcome of the ruling? Of course, my crystal ball is not calibrated, so I cannot predict how the case will end up and when. Hopefully it would end soon, because people in Gaza are still being killed. Let's see. Until next time, I'm signing out, and all the best.